One video that I made a while ago is called Why I'm an Essentialist. In that video, I talk about things like making time to be alone and whether or not I have the choice to say yes or no to something. Just like minimalism taught me to declutter the unnecessary physical items, essentialism taught me to do the same thing, but with my time and energy. I've read the book Essentialism and I've already shared my thoughts on that book, but I've wanted to revisit this topic and go over how I applied some of these ideas and rules of essentialism into my own life. A lot of this might sound like something I've said before or something you already know. But in my experience, revisiting ideas that made a huge impact on my life is very well worth talking about again from time to time. I'm going to share a few things that I learned through essentialism and some of the rules of essentialism that I'm living by and how they've affected my life. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism, frugal living, tech, and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you and you end up liking the video, be sure to like and please German suplex the subscribe button. Let's get started. The first rule of essentialism I want to talk about today is saying no. If you've been watching my videos for some time, you might remember me talking about this in the early days. The power of no can't be understated. At its core, essentialism is about separating the vital few from the trivial many, choosing quality over quantity, less but better. Oftentimes, being busy is confused with being productive and successful. And unfortunately, I didn't realize this until I became aware of essentialism. I became the most productive when I started to do less. I used to be a people pleaser and say yes to everything, mainly because I was afraid to say no or upsetting someone. But in the end, I would cancel, flake, or just not put all my attention into whatever I agreed to. And that just wasn't fair to me or the person that I said yes to. Of course, there's some occasional gray area to this, but very simplified. When I'm making a decision, if it's not an absolute yes, then it's an absolute no. The next thing that essentialism taught me is the difference between hyperactive and proactive. And I'm most definitely speaking from firsthand experience here. It don't necessarily mean I was hyperactive in the sense of energy levels, but in my readiness and willingness to take on work that was either out of my scope or just when I had too much on my plate. I just mentioned how being busy is often confused with being productive. It's easy to think this way and say yes to an opportunity without considering the opportunity cost. More work isn't always associated with more results. To me, the difference between being proactive and hyperactive is the difference between 4 things getting 25% of my effort and the one thing I really care about getting 100% of my effort. To relate this to a more familiar saying, work smarter, not harder. Consider the trade-offs. It's no secret that I value my time over everything. I love having an open schedule with less to do because for me, that means a clear mind and less stress. Every opportunity that presents itself will cost something, and it's not always a physical, tangible item. Sometimes an opportunity will present itself at the cost of saying no to something else, and always, at the very least, at the cost of time. It doesn't mean that I say no to everything that's asked of me, but at the very least, I'm definitely more selective of the things I do commit to. And ever since becoming an essentialist, I'm considering the trade-offs a lot more carefully. Clarity on what's important. This is something I've personally struggled with until I discovered essentialism. I also understand this is a very broad statement, so let me explain. It's pretty simple. When I stopped doing things that, in my opinion, were non-essential, I was only left with what I really cared about and what I really wanted to do. Things I wanted to put time and energy into. I was very surprised to see the little that was left when I got rid of everything that wasn't an absolute yes. Adopting essentialism helped me clarify those things that were most important to me, like making videos and writing, as well as clear up a lot more time to spend however I wanted. Less but better. Less but better is something that I've talked about many times, but it's because I feel so passionate about it. We're faced with hundreds or even thousands of decisions a day when it comes what to wear, eat, or just what we want to do with our time. Through minimalism, I've adopted the less but better rule with physical items, but through essentialism, I've applied this to my commitments. And a perfect example is this YouTube channel. It used to be my goal to post once or twice a week consistently, but I quickly felt burnt out. Over the last couple of months, I've slowed down to every week and a half or so, if you haven't noticed. But I definitely feel like the overall quality of my videos has improved, and I'm just much happier with how they turn out. To me, this was living proof that by biding my time, focusing on quality over quantity, or less but better, just made the most sense. I feel so passionately about essentialism because it's arguably made more of a difference in my life than minimalism. And to be honest, it was a huge inspiration for making videos in general. I was reading the book Essentialism maybe a week or so before I started making videos like this. Moving forward, I'd just like to be a lot more intentional with my decisions, and essentialism is helping guide those decisions. Anyways, I hope at least one person out there got some sort of value out of this video. I know listening to things like this, even if it's something I already know, just hearing it from other people is just really good sometimes. As always, I appreciate the time you spent here watching, and please do share some comments down below about some things you do to live more essentially. I'm curious. If you did like this video and you do like this type of content, be sure to like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.